Hello, hello everybody. I started early today. I don't know if anybody's like any guests are coming. I don't know if Constantine's coming, but I'm here. I'm here. I have the video of the geese. Uh, I have the video of the geese. Let's look at the geese. They're so cute. I'll play it with audio because like this video deserves audio, don't you think? Because the geese are just so well behaved. Um, okay. Uh, yeah, I need to open it a different way to play audio. So we need to hear those geese. We need to hear them. uh, where's the okay? It's I have to open it with the VLC media player, and I have to click a button. There's a button I have to click to make it work. Yeah. Okay. I think this should work now. Let's watch these geese. These are well-trained NATO geese. Okay. Let's see it. Look how orderly they are. I've never like I didn't know that geese could be this quiet. I man, they're so quiet. They're like the geese were quieter than the guys were. That's incredible. It, anyways, so so how's everybody doing? You guys doing okay? Yeah, I mean, you could call them biolab geese, but I would call them just motivated and well trained. That's what I think. I think they're just really good geese. They were hand selected geese, you know. They went through the whole training process. Yeah, they're special forces geese. I like how the two female geese were like pushing the male goose around. Like they're like, "Come on, guys, just come on, get it together, man." Okay. Um. So yeah, I didn't update my map yesterday, so I did both days today, and like a lot happened. There were a lot of missile strikes. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about these missile strikes. There's really not much I can say, but there were a lot of them. There were so many. Uh, yeah. So there were in Tokmak there were missile strikes, and then there were even more tonight. There were four more Gimlers fired at Tokmak tonight. The Molochansk got hit. Mykolaiivka got hit. Chernihivka, Brestove, Bilmak. Uh, these are all missile strikes of various sorts. I think most of them were Gimlers. There was explosions in Melitopol, explosions near Berdyansk. There was an explosion in Crimea that I don't actually know where it was. I didn't I didn't spend the time geolocating where this train was, but it's somewhere around there. And there was an explosion that derailed a train. That was pretty cool. There was a a missile hit somewhere near Skavdask. I don't actually know where. I was probably more up here, but I just kind of marked it randomly. Um, there were hits in Veliki Kopani. There was a right in this exact location right there. Ukraine did a precision strike on a Russian T-72B, I think, or whatever, T-72. Um, yeah, there's a lot of like strikes going on the past few days. Yeah, and I think there was an ammo depot. Oh no, there was just a giant fire. Giant fire. This is the wrong icon, isn't it? Let's change it to a fire icon. Uh, fire, fire, giant fire. Not really sure what happened there. Um, but there explosions over here. There's explosions over there. Yeah, there's a missile strike there. There's so many. I'm looking for the ammo depot that exploded. I can't find it. There was an ammo depot that exploded. Uh, Let me see if I can find it in my list of things that happened. Um, oh, here it is. Oh, that was the one down here in Brest. It was an ammo depot exploded. There was just a lot of missile strikes, man. There's just a lot. I mean, Russia's done some missile strikes too. Um, yeah, there was some Ukrainian drones got shot down near the border. There was a drone attack in this little border town. Uh, it's not none of that's too exciting. There are like five S-300s fired into Sirkuni, with a few people died from that. All bunches like airstrikes. Look at all these airstrikes along this like northern border, this northern front. So yeah, yeah. Constantine just messaged me saying he can't come. It's okay. It's okay. He's at a fundraising event or something like that. So I guess that's more important. But anyways, I'm just trying to buy time for the first few minutes. Uh, but yeah, there are lots of stop messaging me, Constantine. God, Jesus Christ. Uh, yeah, there's tons of strikes. There's Ukraine has been hitting a lot of stuff behind the lines. This is the past 2 days worth of stuff. I mean, Russia hit Kryvyi Rih tonight. I don't know what was hit, but it was something. Um, they've hit three different locations in Mykolaiv. I think this one on the east it hit like civilian houses and stuff. This one hit a factory, and this one hit a warehouse. Um, there are lots of bombing. Oh, do I have a story for you? I think this may have gone under the radar yesterday, but it's kind of funny. Um, so we see like this is Kherson, and here's the Dnipro River, and there's this little tiny island. And you might notice that this island got hit by two missiles. First was an X-22 or a KH-22, whatever you want to call it. Um, so I wanted to tell you that this island is like 900 feet across, which is like what is that? 950 feet to meters. It's a 290 meters. So it's 290 meters that way. And then uh well, we're gonna do all these stupid conversions. Well, 0.78 miles per meter is 1200 meters. So it's like 290 meters by 1200 meters. Okay. So um the the like the circular error probable of this missile is 200 meters, 200-meter radius. So that means like going this way, um to the chances to hit the island, if you just count this dimension, is like it's like 1 in 20 or something like that, or maybe 1 in 12. And then and then this dimension is so I'm just trying to paint the picture that this is an incredibly inaccurate missile aiming at a little tiny island, and there's probably about a 2/3 chance it hit the island somewhere, and a 1/3 chance it landed in the water. And then this other missile is a Caliber. So they shot a Caliber and an X-22 at this island. And can you guess what's on the island, guys? Do you know what they shot at? They shot at recon. They shot two missiles, a Caliber and X-22, at Ukrainian recon on an island in a river. It just, why? Why spend the money? Why spend the resources? Why don't you shoot more sausage? Like, shooting the sausage probably did more than this. Does the island have any hills? I don't. I mean, let's look at it in 3D, I guess. Let's go look. Does it have any hills? It's like a 900-foot island, but I don't know. Let's see if it has a hill. I don't think so. Well, I guess maybe it does. Whatever that is. How tall is this? This is, it's 15 meters, guys. It's 15 meters. 15 meters tall. That's the hill. Sorry. It's just really funny. Why did they do this? It makes no sense. Oh, Jesus. Anyway. I don't know why they didn't just shell it. Why didn't they could have shelled it. They could have dropped a bomb on it. Well, they have like these bombers over here just like dropping bombs. Why don't you just drop a bomb on it? You could drop a bomb. You could shoot mortars. Shoot mortars at it. I mean, think about it. Look at this range here. Is like it's in mortar range. You could just put a mortar here and shoot them with mortars. But you know, let's shoot a Caliber at it. Yeah, I think those are just trees. Honestly, they are just trees. But whatever. We could just say it's a hill. It's a 15-meter tall hill. Okay, dude. The reason it's funny is because there's almost no chance they hit. Okay, they're shooting. This missile. It's an anti-ship missile that is guided by radar. Do you think an anti-ship missile guided by radar is going to hit a person on an island? Like, I don't think it's going to hit the person on the island. It might hit the island. Like, the radar probably thinks this island is a boat, and it's probably gonna aim, because it's designed to aim at the middle of a ship. And the funny thing is that the middle of this island is a pond, or whatever this is. Like it's water. Would this be like a lake? I don't know. The middle of the island is water. So it may have just landed in water, for all we know. Anyway, so that was a bizarre thing that happened yesterday, I think, or the day before. I don't know. The news came out yesterday. Yeah, islands are kind of like ships. I mean, it's kind of like an aircraft carrier, sort of. Um, uh, how long is an aircraft carrier? Uh, uh, how long are you? Oh, it's 1,000 feet. So, so this is it's kind of like this distance is a aircraft carrier. So anyway, yeah. So that's that. That's kind of that news. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. It's designed to aim at carriers, although it's not even that good at it. Let's not paint over that it's not even good at the thing it's designed to do. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's better than walking into a grocery store. If you remember, a while ago, I can't remember which street it was on. I think it was a street, but they shot an X-22 at Dnipro, and I believe that they were aiming for the power plant. I can't remember where the power. It's the power plant's here, so they're aiming at this power plant. I'm pretty sure, and it because it's an X-22, it had like no realistic chance of actually hitting the power plant, and it locked onto like the biggest building it could find, and it was an apartment building like on this street, I think. I can't remember which street it was on, but it was like over here, and it locked on. It like overflew the power plant and hit that building. If you remember, this was a bit ago, and it was bad. That was not a good thing. I can't remember how many people were killed, but it was a bunch. Uh, but I think that may have also been the missile where the Russians lied and said Ukraine shot it down, and that's why it hit people. It was, and then Ukraine came out and said, actually, we can't shoot down your stupid missile. So anyway, I think that was that may have been a different one, but I think that was it. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I could move on to today's news. Um, so I got a bit of an update on Masitivka. I haven't changed my map just because it's so unimportant. I just don't even care. But um, the general news is that this area was not captured. Well, it sort of was, but it also isn't. It's a gray area. I should just here. I'll do it right now. I'll just make it a gray area again. But this was it's not actually controlled by anybody. So I'm just gonna make it a gray area again. There. So that's kind of the update since the other day. Um, there. I have no news about really anything else around here. There's just like airstrikes and artillery, and Russia attacked Novoselivska again, but nothing happened. They've been kind of I think I forgot to draw an arrow. But anyways, they're attacking Stomachivka, also with no advance. They attacked Nevska with no advance. Although they did manage to blow up a Ukrainian tank right here. Uh, and Ukraine blew up a BMP right there. So yeah, there's this whole area is just really kind of no news. There was some news near Bilahorivka. Um, Russia shelled this building, this building, this building, and this building. Um, which pretty solidly hints that this whole entire complex is now under Ukrainian control. So I'm going to zoom out and then stop moving the map for a while. But anyways, so it seems that Ukraine may have taken this whole industrial area. Russia is kind of losing a lot of their positions south of Bilahorivka. It's not that Ukraine is pushing them out, I don't think. It's more that Russia just they don't have dudes and they're kind of pulling out because they've just kind of run out of dudes, to be honest. Um, then uh, around this what they call position Cyclops, there's been kind of shelling back and forth, and also airstrikes. So yeah, that's kind of the news from there. Not nothing too exciting. And then Ukraine blew up a tank. They've been blowing up a lot of tanks around Sperna, but nothing really changed. Vasily got hit by an airstrike. Not super exciting. Okay, so now getting to Sakhalin Vincenty. Russia would here, I'll draw it on my green screen. So a few days ago, Russia controlled like that, and now they had to withdraw like this, and they have a kind of a defensive line that goes like that. So uh, their defensive line is like this, apparently, um, and Ukraine is kind of squeezing them from both sides. So that's kind of what is going on around Sakowy Vanzetti. Um, so Ukraine is kind of pushing in on both sides. They've cleared and seized all the positions along this road, and they're. It seems pretty likely they could capture this so-called town. It's not really a town. It's kind of more like a single farm. I would is how I would describe it. There's like two houses and field. So that's the town. It's not really a town. Um, do we expect shaping operations in Luhansk? Um, I think this whole area is going to get a lot more intense. Here, I'm gonna zoom out and turn off all these little thingies. Okay, so I think in the near future, I don't know exactly when, but it could be like a month or two from now. But I think here and here and here are all going to heat up. So I don't know what the results will be. I don't know how far they'll go. They might have zero success for all I know. But I think those three areas are going to heat up um, in the near future. How many troops have they lost in Belohorivka? They've been attacking it for so long. It's so hard. It's so hard to kind of analyze it. I don't think it's that many. I don't think there's that many troops here to begin with. Maybe 1,000 or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. I think like right now there might only be like 100 people fighting here. Um, but if 100 guys take like one casualty a day or something, it adds up because they've been here for so long. It adds up. So, and then there were much bigger attacks in the past. There used to be much bigger attacks, much more fighting, but it's gonna calm down. Um, Towards Yakovlivka. Well, the issue is like right now. Um, okay, so oops, uh, Vasily doesn't exist anymore, and like this town just doesn't exist anymore. It was erased by artillery, and it wasn't very big to begin with, but it's gone. So going from and also you have to realize that this is a valley. So the hills kind of go like this. Um, so Ukraine is like on a hill here, and this is like the other side of the valley. So they would have to go down the valley and up the valley, um, which isn't necessarily easy to move across a valley like that. Especially this is like no cover at all. Like it's just it's just a field. There's not even like trees or anything. So just moving there is hard. Now, this side over here near like Razdolivka, this would be easier to move through. Um, I don't know, I guess Ukraine could attack there at some point. They haven't been inclined to. I think in this general area, Ukraine is not really. They don't want casualties. Like they don't want to just attack for no reason. They want to. They're basically doing things opportunistically. Um, there's just no reason for them to throw men away in this area. So they're being very cautious and methodical in the way that they're moving, and that I guess they haven't seen a reason to move. First, you'd have to capture this pond and probably whatever this is, and you'd probably move down both ways and attack Yakovlivka. I guess that's possible at some point, but they just they I guess they don't see the reason the sacrifice the men doing that. So the Seko Vansetti, this is very opportunistic. I don't think it's like building towards anything. I think they're just they saw a weakness and they're attacking it. As I said last time, Russia, or maybe last week, Russia has kind of withdrawn from this pond and river area and moved up onto this higher ground, which isn't super important, but and then there are some reports today that Ukraine has. There are reports. I don't know if they're true. I can't verify them or anything, but that Ukraine moved into some of these forest strips along these ponds, like maybe like jumping from like this forest strip to that forest strip or something. I don't know, but there was some talk about Ukraine doing that today. Um, this whole kind of northern part for Russia, I think, is going to slowly collapse. I I I, I expect we'll see Zalesnyansky fall into Ukrainian control soon. I expect most of this whole area to kind of collapse, and I expect Russia will try to defend somewhere over here. Um, whether they might try to defend like here, I'm not really sure. But I expect them to defend something because they can't let Ukraine just collapse everything. They have to have a line somewhere, and I don't I really don't think they're going to defend the town. They might defend this high grounds because this is a tall hill. It's like the peak of a hill right there. They might defend that. I'm not sure. Not really sure. Um, yeah, it is controlling a highway, but I mean, the highway to what? Uh, was it the highway to Fedorivka that Russia can't attack? The highway to Soledar that Ukraine won't be able to take? I mean, it is a highway. It's a highway, but it's kind of a highway to nowhere. So I don't know. I don't know. Um, yeah, Dubovo Vasilivka. The issue of this town is it's kind of like on this like weird slant. I can't remember. Yeah, the slant is kind of like this way. So like this is high and it goes low. Um, and I feel Ukraine could defend it very well from attacks from the east, but I'm just not so sure it can defend attacks from the west. But I guess we'll see. But there is all this low ground, just all around it is all low ground, which is kind of weird. So attacking it, except for coming from this like southwest, attacking it from like the north is like an uphill fight, I think. Anyways, um, this this pixel's wrong. Do you ever just see a map pixel wrong on your map? Anyways, so getting to Bakhmut. Um, Bakhmut's not doing so good. I'm kind of mapping it very conservatively right now. I didn't get to talk to any of my sources in Bakhmut today, which is it's kind of understandable to be honest. But okay, so Russia claims that they captured here and like this and like that So that's what Russia said they captured. Um, great. Here, I'll make it a different color. Maybe I'll make it a different color. Here. Uh, so Russia says that they captured kind of like that. Okay, so I really can't verify it. I haven't talked to my sources in Bakhmut today. Um, but we have seen Russia filming videos. Here, I'll make it white again. Um, oops. We saw them filming videos here. There was a captured British Spartan, which was like right there, and then there was like a BMP right next to it. Um, so yeah, I think it's safe to say that Russia has at least made it to this road, and they probably at least made it to that road, and uh, I can't really dispute that they captured all this stuff. But I guess we'll see soon. I guess I don't know. Um, so the last time I spoke to my source in, I have so many like little white dots all over here. Okay, so the last time I spoke to um, my source in who's in Bakhmut, he told me that this northern part was a disaster and the southern part was pretty stable. Um, and so like this whole northern section was falling apart, and the southern section was stable. And he basically said that the reason the south is stable is because this north, Russia had pumped all of their infantry to attack this part, and they just didn't have enough infantry to attack here as well. So that's why the south was stable. But now that it appears that this northern part has likely collapsed, um, this southern part probably won't last much longer. Um, the Wagner says that they're fighting on the airplane, which is right there. Um, so I just thought I think I think Bakhmut's pretty much over. It's pretty much done. Uh, yeah, the battles are more about controlling the more important features than controlling a town. At least logically, that's how you would fight. Sometimes it seems that Russia just captures a town for propaganda, but logically, you're supposed to attack for to control resources and things like that. It's typical how you're supposed to conduct a war, but sometimes Russia attacks a whole city just for propaganda purposes. Sometimes sometimes they do things that don't make no sense. But anyways, it seems that Bakhmut is more or less lost. Ukraine still controls like this little blue area here. They seem to have um, lost control over this part of the highway. Just because I say that they've lost control over it doesn't mean that Russia has taken control. It's I'm not really sure who controls it. I just you can't say that Ukraine single-handedly controls it any longer. And Hromove, not really sure what's going on in Hromove, to be honest. Um, so yeah, so that's kind of the Bakhmut news. Now, if we move south, This Klishchiivka area is a bit more controversial, I think might be the word. And I'm not really, maybe I'm not, anyway. The it's unclear exactly what's going on here. Is kind of my point. So I think I may have been misled. I'm gonna change this. So I think it's more accurate to paint the map this way. Uh, so I'm gonna change it on the fly right now because I meant to do this earlier and I forgot to. Oops. Uh, so it seems that uh, Ukraine has taken control over. I need to unclick this so I don't break the map somehow. Okay, so it seems that Ukraine has pushed up to this forest strip, and this forest strip may or may not still be in Russian control. There was some news that Ukraine captured it today, but I'm not really 100% sure. Um, Now to the south of this section, um, this is kind of funny. The Russians say that they don't control this area. Um, so I'll draw it, I guess. The Russians say they don't control this area. Um, Ukraine it depends on which Ukrainian you're talking about. Some Ukrainians say that the front line is right there. Others say that it's more over here. I don't. It's very confusing. I've not been able to get really official, strong information about this whole section. So the gray area just keeps getting bigger. Um, uh, all of them seem. Everybody seems to believe that Klishchiivka could be under direct assault soon. Um, I don't know what soon means. Today, Ukraine fully captured this area along the canal, whereas before they only controlled this kind of northern part. So that's interesting. This area just south is partially Russian controlled because they've been pushing along these forest strips, trying to move towards Belahora, but they have. It's been mostly a failure, and especially now they're kind of getting flanked. It's kind of weird. Ukraine has been heavily shelling these positions too. So, uh, okay, so now moving south or anyway, east of Klishchiivka, along this road here near Odradivka, Russia brought in a ton of reinforcements and they kind of put them along this road here. And then Ukraine shelled them and they took a whole bunch of casualties and they were very sad. These guys were very sad. They were so sad that they went on to Telegram and they complained about it, which is not the best way to go about things. And in addition, it seems that their commander was also killed in the shelling. So these guys are very sad and they're complaining about it on Telegram. And 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 while they're complaining on Telegram, Ukraine seems to be marching towards them. Now, I want to tell you something about these particular guys who are complaining on Telegram. They came from over here. Um, they used to be attacking Avdiivka, and if you remember anything about the armored people attacking Avdiivka along this highway, you'll remember that they took a lot of casualties. They lost a lot of tanks. A lot. Like so many. Like embarrassingly huge amount of tanks. And other armor lost. BMPs, MTLBs, everything made of armor. They managed to lose it somehow. Okay? Now, this armored group, I guess I could tell you even more history. This armored group was created because, if you remember, Russia did this thing where they like attacked everywhere in Ukraine at the same time, and like in Sumy and in Kharkiv, they had these huge tank columns, and they all died. and then they all like retreated back to Russia without their tanks. If you remember last year. Um, so as a result of that like massacre of Russian armor, they created a new tank force. And this new tank force, one of the things they've done is gone to Avdiivka and gotten massacred. So they got massacred in Avdiivka. They were withdrawn. They were sent up towards Lysychansk in Bilohora, and they got a whole bunch of mobliks. These little mobilized people. They all joined up, and they all hopped into their brand new T80 BVMs and whatever, the T90Ms, because these guys, they get all the best stuff, and then they got sent from Bellahora over to Odradivka, and then they got on this road and dug in, and then they got shelled, and they all they took like 100 casualties, and they went on the internet and were crying about it because they don't like it. They're sad. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what happened south of Bakhmut recently. Um, I don't know how much you're going to de- I don't know what Russia expects from these guys. This is like the Third Army Corps. The other thing of the Third Army Corps is that on paper they have like 60,000 men. Like, but in reality, I think they have like closer to 10,000. So anyway, so Russia is kind of depending on these guys to hold the southern front, and the main thing that they're tasked with defending is this hill that I was talking about on Tuesday. I talked about the importance of this hill and how I believe if Ukraine recaptures this hill, Russia will. Russia doesn't have the forces to take it back again. Well, Russia said, "Wow, this hill's really important. So all, let's put the Third Army Corps right on this street, this highway. Let's guard this hill with the Third Army Corps." It's like the clown show Army Corps. So I guess we'll see what happens there. Um, how threatening are these attacks on the flanks? They're pretty threatening, to be honest. This it really depends on how many resources Ukraine is willing to throw into this. Because if they take back Klishchiivka, which I think is pretty likely at this point, I think it's pretty likely they're going to take back Klishchiivka. If they take back Klishchiivka and they can cross and take back Kurdyamivka, and they can, push back down towards like Andriivka, and they can get this whole section back. It gives them a pretty good launch point to attack Odorivka and Mykolaiivka Druha, and then they could attack Mykolaiivka, and once they get Mykolaiivka, they could go for this hill again. These are a lot of steps that they would need to take, and they would have to succeed at all of these steps, but it's doable. And if they get to this final location and they can get Kodema and Zaitsevi, this would really open up a lot of possibilities where they could attack Opitna, and the southern flank of Bakhmut would be kind of screwed. Um, I mean, these are a lot of ifs. There's a lot of steps involved. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. I don't know how many resources Ukraine wants to throw at this. And here's the other thing. The other thing is that Ukraine may not be interested in doing any of this. They may, okay, like I think they're going to capture Klishchiivka, but they may not be interested in pushing any of these other areas. It may be pointless to them. They might look at this and say, not worth it. But what this would do is the threat the threat of this possibility could mean that Russia withdraws troops from other areas to guard the southern flank. So Ukraine threatening this and forcing Russia to defend is just as much a victory as Ukraine capturing it themselves. Because Russia has a finite amount of resources. They have a finite number of men and a finite amount of armor, and they just sent, one of their armor corps, one of their largest armored regiments, into this position to defend their flank. And these guys have all the latest technology. They have all the best tanks, all the newest tanks. These guys have BMDs. I think it's funny that they gave these guys BMDs. They're a bunch of clowns. They're just clowns driving around in T90s and BMDs and stuff. So, so yeah, if Russia wants to withdraw people from Avdiivka and throw them into Bakhmut, sounds great. If they want to withdraw people from Kremenna and throw them into Bakhmut, sounds good to me. Okay. Like, I don't know. So it strikes me as a win-win if Ukraine can launch these attacks and capture all this area. That's a win. And if Russia is forced to defend these areas, that's also a win in my book. Now, moving south towards Avdiivka, there were some, Russia has been like periodically attacking the southwestern part of Avdiivka with no success. They've been attacking Severna with no success. They've been attacking Pervomaisky with no success. Yeah, so they've been attacking Novelska with no success. Krasnohorivka occasionally, not very often, with no success. Okay, so Marinka is another place that is kind of funny. Okay, so the reason Marinka is funny is because the Russians have been so thoroughly complaining about this area. So there was a report recently. There's a report recently that Russia withdrew a ton of their infantry from Marinka and sent them up to Bakhmut, apparently, or somewhere else. I'm pretty sure they sent them to Bakhmut. Anyway, they withdrew a ton of infantry from Marinka, and now the forces who are remaining in Marinka are complaining that they don't think that they have the forces necessary to continually. Okay, so first off, they really wanted to capture Marinka, and they've now apparently withdrawn forces. So that kind of dashes their hopes to capture it, even though they kind of weren't capturing it anyway. But now they're afraid that Ukraine is going to launch a counterattack, and they are saying that their fear is that Ukraine will push them back to this position right here, this pile of slag, I guess. Um, so the people, so the Russians in Marinka are scared that they're going to be pushed back to this pile of slag, and this would erase of months of advance. Like these are like months and months. Like each of these little advances is like a month. So it's like it's ridiculous. So they're saying that they're going to be pushed back to August, basically. It's not a hill. It's a pile of slag. It's a pile of slag. What's the name of it? I can't remember the name. It's the heap. I think that's what they call it. The heap. Is it a hill? I don't think this is a hill. I'm pretty sure it's not a hill. Let's look at it in 3D. Pretty sure it's not a hill though. Um. Uh, Look at that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Is it a hill or is it slag? It kind of looks like slag to me. All these, look at all these guys. They're like all like just piles of stuff. It's like man-made mountains. Anyways, I think X-22 would probably shoot this mountain. I don't know. Maybe there's like ground scattering. I think that might be something that confuses the X-22s, the ground scattering. Okay. And anyways, so moving south from Marinka. So that Marinka situation is kind of funny, but moving south, I don't have any news anywhere in the south other than all the strikes I talked about before, where Ukraine has been doing all of these deeper strikes. Russia has been launching a ton of bombing, you know, these glide bombs. They've been launching tons of them all over the place. Um, Malatakmaka, it got hit by, I think, three or four glide bombs and four UAV attacks. Novodenilivka got hit by a bomb. But anyways, all of these deeper strikes from Ukraine have been interesting, and they blew up a BML, not BMP, BMP2. Okay, so that's kind of all the news I got. That's kind of all I got. All I have news. It is the to sum it up. Russia is sending dudes to Bakhmut. They're sending their reserves to Bakhmut. They're sending them to the guard the flanks. They're losing ground on the flanks still. Ukraine said that they've taken ground towards Yahidna, though I haven't seen any proof of it. They say that they moved 2 kilometers towards Klishchiivka, and I don't know if it counts. If like I don't know if this is the 2 kilometers they're talking about, like that, or if it's 2 kilometers in addition to that. I don't know. no one really, no one really specified. But an attack towards Yehorivka. Um, Ukraine's tried that. It didn't work last time. I think it's more likely they would attack Novodonetsk or Novomayorsk. Um, there are conspiracy theories that Russia has withdrawn from both of these towns. And I've even seen people claim that Ukraine captured both of these towns. I see absolutely no proof of that. But I do think these towns are more likely to attack than like the ones over here. Pavlivka, Yehirivka. I mean, you gotta capture Shevchenko first, and the issue with Shevchenko is that first it doesn't exist anymore, so that's a kind of annoying. There's like nowhere to hide, It's all like anyway. So and then you have to cross like a river. It's not a big river, but it's still like a river. It's like it gets flooded and stuff. Oh, the other thing I should probably talk about is that I have to go to the other version of the map. Um, um, Russia is intentionally flooding all of these areas, like along all of these rivers. They're flooding around Tokmak. They're flooding, I think, around Vasilivka, and they're flooding down near Melitopol. They're intentionally flooding all of these rivers, and there's actually a lot of flooding. They're like building up mud. I think they're trying to weaponize mud, and I if you know uh, I've never talked about it previously, but it's been talked about a lot. Russia has closed off this dam to raise the water level as high as possible. The water level is high enough now that the water is literally overflowing the dam, and they're using some of this water to, I believe, to flood stuff. Although obviously this is kind of as the water goes downhill typically, but yeah, they're they're using water as a weapon. That's kind of the point. Yeah, I think they're mostly just trying to build up mud so that if Ukraine attacks, they have to deal with mud. Oh, that tweet about those launches here. I'll bring up the tweet, I guess. Or one sec. Uh, there. Um, okay, so you can kind of disregard the first few lines because he's making a joke at himself. If you look at the Telegram post, you'll see what it means. But he's like kind of making fun of himself. But the more important thing is that he's saying that what Russia is doing isn't really trying to win the war anymore. They're trying to freeze the conflict by making the Ukrainian people turn against themselves. So he's saying that Russia can't go on the offensive anymore. Our air defenses have been strengthened so that their air attacks aren't as damaging anymore. But the thing that they can do is they can launch so many strikes every single night so that people can't sleep, so they're constantly getting warned and scared and having to go into shelters and everything. And then the civilians ask, when will it end? Why is the air defense, why did the air defense shoot down everything? Like, why are we not attacking yet? Why is our offensive not winning the war? Why is the war still going? And the whole point is to make the Ukrainian people have these emotional responses instead of using logic. And he said, yeah, I'm tired too. I wish the war was over too. But um, the whole idea here is to make the Ukrainian people say, um, let's just give the territory away because it's their problem, not my problem. And he says, if Ukraine turns to that sort of logic, then there wouldn't be a Ukraine anymore. And he says, today you'll give away Melitopol. Tomorrow someone else will give away you. And that is the thing that everybody has to understand. So that is the point here. The point is that there, and 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 he's writing to Ukrainians, but I think it applies to everybody else too. That if you give up, um, if you're willing to sacrifice someone else, then someone else is going to be willing to sacrifice you, and at the end, everybody loses. And this guy writing, um, he works with like the air defense people. I don't know if he actually is in the air defense. I don't think he actually is in the air defense, but he like works with those people. Like he's friends with them or whatever. It's um this guy. It's him. Yeah. Anyways, so his most recent updates can tell you, because he talks about air threats basically most of the time, at least at night. Um, so there's moped threats. There are mopeds going towards Lviv. Um, yeah, those are the most recent things. So I guess we'll see what happens about that. So, anyways, so that's that. It seems that most of Ukraine has their alarms have gone off. It seems, except for like Lviv, apparently, or whatever. Yeah. Anyways, so that's all the news I have to talk about for today. I guess I'll see you all on Tuesday, and maybe there'll be guests. Maybe there won't. Maybe there'll be big map changes. I suspect that we're gonna see big changes around Bakhmut by Tuesday. I'd actually be surprised if we don't. We might see things in other places too. Who knows? So, anyways, I'll see you on Tuesday.